Starting off at number one, you are skeptical of the status quo. The status quo consists of all the beliefs that society has drilled into you. Things like, oh, you need to get a degree in order to succeed in life, or just invest in a mutual fund and everything will be all right, or even don't start a business, it's too risky. The problem with the status quo is that we live in a world that is constantly changing, which means that the best way to succeed in life nowadays was not the best way to succeed in life last century. Think about it. Getting a degree wasn't something that the average person really considered until 100 years ago. The modern day mutual fund was invented less than a century ago. And thousands of years ago, for all of human history, literally every family had a business. Yet we tell people that it's too risky to try to start one now. The status quo changes all the time. Those that become rich question everything that they are taught. They realize that half of those things are simply not true anymore. And this allows them to spot and jump into opportunities way before other people, which gives them a huge first mover's advantage and also a huge payoff if they are right, because you make the most money betting on things that very few people are currently betting on. Which actually brings us to sign number two. You like taking big bets. Having conflicting beliefs with the current status quo will not make you rich unless you bet on this belief. And it can't just be a little toe dip in the water bet. It needs to be a big bet. Warren Buffett's mentor, Benjamin Graham, who is also the author of The Intelligent Investor, probably the most well-known investing book in the world today, made a big bet on Geico in 1948. He invested $700,000 into the company, which eventually grew to $400 million by 1972. This single big bet produced more gains for Graham than all of his other investments throughout his entire life combined. See, contrary to popular belief, the large majority of the wealthiest people in the world became wealthy by placing a few big bets. They didn't initially make their fortune by diversifying and betting on 50 different things. They found an opportunity that challenged the status quo and put their money where their mouth is by either betting a huge percentage of their time or their money on this idea. Big bets are bets that can make you 10 times to 100 times your initial investment, something that is simply not possible by betting on things that lie within the status quo. However, as with all bets, there is a lot of risk involved, which brings us to sign number three, which is that the rich are paranoid. See, making big bets on things that challenge the status quo has a pretty high chance of failure. So you need to have some degree of paranoia in order to think critically about the things that can go wrong. The large majority of the rich don't become rich right off the bat by making the perfect call their very first time. The large majority of them had to bet big a couple of times, often failing and failing until they hit the jackpot. You need to be paranoid so that you can control your emotions and only bet when you can afford to lose. Those that are not paranoid enough will often go all in and bet 100% or even more than 100% of what they own. And if they are wrong, it completely wipes them out. They have little to no chance to ever recover. The rich don't play the game of life like this. They understand that no bet is for certain, and their paranoia allows them to dive deep into the many, many possible things that can go wrong, which gives them clearer vision. With this knowledge, they end up only betting what they can afford to lose, so that if they are wrong, they can save up again and make another big bet a couple of years down the line when they spot the next opportunity. Getting rich is not about making the right bet every time. It's about surviving long enough so that you can make enough big bets to eventually hit the jackpot of a lifetime. Being paranoid also helps when it comes to running businesses. The large majority of working businesses fail due to unexpected obstacles. These are things that people have a very hard time predicting, like a pandemic. But if you are paranoid enough, you end up taking precautions, such as having enough cash to last for an entire year, which protects your business from getting wiped out even